some of the basics of photogrammetry and some basic new terms that you saw. Some terms like side lap, end lap, stereo pairs, nadir line, all those things. Some basics principles of photogrammetry we saw in the last class. So what you basically obtain from them, you obtain a aerial photograph, right? So what is the major difference between a map and a photo? An aerial photograph and a map of a region. You can see the aerial photograph over a campus in Google Maps. You can see the satellite images, and you can also see the map of the campus, right? The technical term I want to introduce here is a orthographic projection, right? And the relief displacement. So orthographic projection, map is an orthographic projection, whereas the aerial photograph is a perspective projection. You can look here, you can see the orthographic view. Orthographic view, it is represented in two axes, x and y, whereas the perspective view also has the topographic component, the height component, the z. In the z coordinate also you can express the particular location, right? So that is a major difference between an orthographic view and a perspective view. So your map is basically an orthographic projection, and your aerial photo is a perspective projection, right? That is the main difference between a orthographic view and a perspective view, or a map and a photo. Another thing is that the maps doesn't show any relief displacement, whereas the aerial photographs show some relief displacement. You see some displacement of displacement in varied scales, tilts, and other distortions. So what do you mean by this relief displacement? So here you can see two structures. Suppose those red dots are two buildings. You can see in the perspective view, which is an aerial photograph, you can see that the top of the object is slightly displaced from the base of the object, right? Have you experienced that in an actual aerial photograph or a satellite image? Maybe in Google Maps itself you might have seen this, right? Tall structures, you might observe that the base of the structure and the top of the structure is slightly displaced. Is it actually like that? No. So here you can see an actual photograph. Can you see the photograph? You can see smaller structures like those cars and all doesn't show any relief displacement. The base and the top are in line. It looks like a plan, but if you look at those taller structures, you can see that the top of the structure is slightly displaced from the base of the structure, right? So here you can see something called the relief displacement. That displacement, or that displacement caused by the leaning away of the top of the structure from the base of the structure is called relief displacement. So that is observed in a aerial photograph or a perspective projection. But in a map, it's pretty much a two-dimensional x and y axis representation of a particular area. Alright, and in this aerial topographs, this relief displacement, as I mentioned, areas of higher elevation, they appear larger also. They appear larger apart from the the relief displacement. Areas at a higher elevation, they appear larger as they are actually closer to the camera, right? So taller the structure, the top of the structure might look larger when compared to the surrounding objects because they are closer to the camera, right? So these two are the major drawbacks of an aerial photo, or major difference from that of a map. The major differences are, one is that the terrains or objects which are at a higher elevation, they appear larger, and another thing is the relief displacement, where they lean away from the base, as you can see here. But there is one catch to this relief displacement. There is one advantage to this relief displacement, which is you can actually calculate the height of a particular object using this relief displacement. So here you can see another photo, another image showing the difference between the orthographic projection and the perspective projection. You can see there are two trees which are at two different elevations. So here you can see how the trees seem to lean away from their base, isn't it? On the left side you can see the map, where you get a pretty much plan view of the area, but on the aerial photo, you can see the perspective view. So from the principal point, you can see that the objects are leaning away, right? So that relief displacement, that leaning away or that relief displacement can actually, as I mentioned, can be used to find out the height of a particular object. Suppose you can see on the datum on the ground, the bottom plane shows the ground and the top plane shows the photograph. Okay, suppose. So here you can see from the base on the bottom image, you can see a tower. So let's see whether we can calculate the height of that tower. Okay, so the photograph is taken from a height capital H, as you can see from the datum, and the actual height of the tower is small h. Alright, then top of the tower A, capital A, it is imaged at small a, small letter a in the photograph. Base of the tower is A dash, and small a dash is the base of the tower in the image. Can you see that? On the top you can see the image or the photograph, and on the base you can see the actual scenario and the actual tower, right? So here you can see top of the tower, base of the tower, A and A dash, capital A, small a, capital A dash, small a dash, top and base of the tower. Then you can see that in the image, you can see that the top of the tower is radially displaced by a distance d from the bottom of the tower. You can see that A dash and A. If it was a map projection, then what will be the difference between A and A dash? If it was a map, what will be the difference between A and A dash? No difference, right? They will be at the same point. The top and the base will be exactly at the same point, right? If it was an orthographic projection, but here it's a perspective projection. You can see that relief displacement, and that is the distance d. That is your relief displacement, right? That is the relief displacement of the tower here, small d. So that equivalent distance, if you project it on the ground, that will be capital D, A dash to A double dash, if you project it onto the ground. Alright, A dash, A double, capital A dash to capital A double dash is capital D. That is the equivalent distance that is projected onto the ground. Now let us look at another point, another distance, smaller and capital R. So in the image, look at the image, the top plane, from the point small o to capital to small a, you have a distance R, right? From the principal point of the photo to the top of the tower, you have a distance r. So that r, the equivalent distance on the ground is capital R. Okay, these are the notations. Now if you look at similar triangles, A dash, A double dash, capital, and LO, A double dash, look at this figure, LO, A double dash, and A dash, A double dash, you can see that they are similar triangles. So of course the ratios d by h and r by h you can consider to be equal, right? D by h and r by h. D by small h and r by capital H will be equal. That ratio will be equal, right? Now representing that d and r in the scale of the photo, small d by small h will be equal to small r by capital H, right? So that relief displacement d will be equal to RH by h. Agree? So once you get that, what was the height of the tower notated as? Small h, right? So you can find out h from there, right? So h is equal to dh by r. So if you can find out, if you can calculate what is the relief displacement, and if you know the scale of the image, you can obviously directly, clearly, you can calculate the height of any particular object required from the aerial photograph. Clear? The applications of this are plenty. Now another problem with the perspective view is image parallax. Have you heard of image parallax? Parallax error. You might have heard of the term parallax error, no? Maybe in your school and all. Parallax error, have you heard? You visualize or you observe a same point from two different angles or two different points. You observe a displacement in the actual position or the true position of that particular object, isn't it? That was called parallax error, right? Same thing can happen in the case of aerial photographs as well. Here you can see, a small terrain, you can see a small mountain, small hill. You can see the point A and you can see the point B on the ground. Suppose they are two features, all right, point A and point B. So initially the left point, the capital L, imagine that your flight was at point capital L. Okay, so you are observing, you are obtaining a photo at that particular plane. That photo is shown on the top. The top left square is the photo obtained from point L. Okay, you can see the point capital A and capital B on the ground as points small a and small b on the photo that was obtained. But if you look at the same frame from point L dash, so the flight has moved and it has reached point L dash. Now if you look at the same points and you take a photo, you can see that the point a dash, small a dash and small b dash, the distance between them have changed, right? The point a, small a, on the left figure and the point a dash, small a dash on the right figure, it shows some displacement, right? This error is called parallax error, isn't it? This is our image parallax, right? So this is another problem in the perspective view. You take an aerial photograph from two different positions or two different locations, you obtain the same point to be displaced in two different photos, right? So that displacement is called parallax displacement. So this can be actually measured using a stereo plotter through a stereoscopic viewer. Stereoscopic viewer is something that looks like a, you have seen this VR VR headsets, right? Virtual reality headsets, Oculus and all, you might have seen that already, right? It looks something like that. So you keep a stereo pair together. What is a stereo pair? Two adjacent tiles of photos taken by the flight, right? Two adjacent photos. So you will observe a stereo pair through this stereoscopic viewer. It looks like this, VR headsets. For hard copies, nowadays you get all these soft copies and everything now, so that's not a big deal now. But in earlier days they used to view this through a stereoscopic viewer and they could calculate the parallax, image parallax. For the soft copy images in the current scenario, you have a lot of numerical image corrections. You can stretch the image, you can scale the image, you have a lot of numerical image corrections like collinearity equations, aero triangulations, etc. to correct this image parallax. All right. So a simple uh, representation for the image parallax or parallax displacement is given as PA is equal to XA minus X dash A. As you can see in this figure, on the left figure and the right figure, you can see XA is the measured X coordinate of the image small a on the left photograph of the stereo pair, alright, and X dash A is the X coordinate of the image A dash on the right photograph of the stereo pair. So you can compare these two, and from that axis, from the plus y and plus y dash axis, what is the distance of point A and A dash on the left and right stereo pair? So on the left stereo pair it is small xa, on the right stereo pair it is x dash a, right? So the difference between these two is the parallax error expressed in terms of flight line coordinate systems. Clear? So if you have a stereo pair, if you have two photos like this, you can view it through a stereoscopic viewer and you can actually calculate your parallax error and you can try to rectify it. But now, as I mentioned, you have the collinearity equation. Using collinearity equation, you can manually also do that. But now you have advanced software and all these image processing techniques and tools for that. So it's not much of a big deal, but this is the concept behind it. All right, this is parallax error. Clear? Now, moving forward to ground control for aerial photography. So you're taking a photo from above, right? You need to ensure that you need to actually find out the exact coordinates of different points in that photo, right? Suppose you take a photo, but you have to ensure which points in that photos refer to which coordinates actually on the ground. Yes or no? You should be able to correlate that, isn't it? Do you agree? Suppose you take this photo. You need to know exactly where a particular feature lies on the photo, right? So for that, you need to actually know the coordinates in this photo. Yes or no? So for that, what can you do? What can you do that? Suppose you are the person handling this photo, and I am asking you, I am asking you details of a particular feature. I am asking you to identify a particular feature at a given coordinate. All right. So how can you do that? How will you find out the actual coordinates in this photo? For that, you will need something called GCPs or ground control points. All right. Those are the points where which are very clearly visible and you can use it to identify the particular coordinates in the photo that you take. Suppose an example is a road intersection. Suppose the center of the road intersection on the ground, what is the coordinate of the road intersection. So same thing you can actually plot on your photo, right? Suppose at a road intersection in this figure, or maybe let's see a particular feature in this, the center of that dome in that picture, you know the actual ground coordinates of the center of that dome. So you plot that in this figure, you know that this point corresponds to this particular coordinate. Similarly, maybe an intersection of the road, a marking on the road, or a signboard on the road, all these things, if you know the exact location GPS coordinates, you can actually correlate those points on this photo, and you can, using that, you can figure out the coordinates of any particular point on this photo, any particular point or feature on this photo. So for that you need ground control points or GCPs. So ground control is very important for aerial photography. So but nowadays, again, nowadays you have advanced GPS procedures, you have interrelated GPSs in the aircraft and the ground control both. So earlier days, you will take a photo and you will go to the site. You will find out. You will pinpoint the coordinates of a road intersection. Then you will mark that coordinates on the photo, and you will do all these calculations and triangulations, and you will figure out what is the coordinate of any particular point in that photo. But nowadays you have all these ground control, you have all this ground control, and you have advanced GPS systems, trackers and everything. So you have this interrelated GPS system, you have a GPS system in the aircraft, you have ground control and the GPS satellites, everything. So you take a photo, then and there itself you can geotag your photos, right? So generally, even if you geotag a photo nowadays, you take a satellite image, again you might have to geo reference a photo. You have to ensure that the photo coordinates are actually matching with your coordinate systems, and uh, you need to process that image, you need to identify the particular locations of features on a particular image. So you have to geo reference an image. That's a new term that I'm introducing here. You have to geo reference an image, you have to actually ensure the coordinate system of a particular photo or a aerial photograph that you are going to process. So for that you need GCPs. For geo-referencing a photograph, you need GCPs or ground control points. So they are usually known points whose coordinates are known, like a road intersection, a particular a tower location, or something like that. Some any feature that stands apart from the background, you can consider them as a ground control point. All right. Then coming to production of maps. So there are, how are these maps made? You basically you have this planimetric maps or ortho photos. So planimetric maps are, as I mentioned earlier, as I showed earlier, it's a map view or a orthographic view where you portray the plan of the area in the x and y coordinates, and there is no contour relief or relief displacement or anything like that. So it's basically a x and y coordinate system, two-dimensional representation, a map view. And images can be scaled, stretched, rotated and translated to fit the plotted positions of control points on the map base. As I mentioned earlier, if you know some of the ground control points, you will pin those points on the photograph, and you can stretch the image, scale the image, rotate, translate. All these processes, image processing techniques, are adopted to stretch the image or scale the image to a actually match the exact ground coordinates. Then you have a stereo plotter. As I mentioned earlier, a stereo plotter, it's a precision instrument for actual planimetric and topographic map projections. Then you generate ortho photos, which are basically photo maps. It's a photo map. Okay, it's a photo, but it looks like a map. There is no relief displacement, no scale displacements or distortions, etc. So those are ortho photos. So then using all these data, if you have the elevation data and all, you can digitally you can produce digital elevation models or digital photos, digital terrain models or digital elevation models of the particular area. And these ortho photos, they do not convey any topographic info. As I mentioned, ortho photographs are basically photo maps. They are actual aerial photograph, but they are a map. There is no distortion or leaf displacement or anything in that photo. So if you have if you want to use it to convey the topographic info, you can maybe overlay a contour line on that. Maybe you have observed that in Google Earth, right? You have a orthographic view of the region along with the contour lines on it, isn't it? So that those images are called, those photos are called topographic ortho photo maps. All right. Now coming to flight planning before aerial photography mission. So there are a few parameters that need to be fixed before a photographic mission. What are those? Can you tell me? So now you have a basic idea about how aerial photography is done, how it is processed, and how a lens works, how photos are obtained. All these things now you know. So photographic expedition or photographic mission, what all parameters are to, if you are in charge of that mission, what all parameters will you consider, or what all parameters will you fix before the mission starts, before the flying mission starts? Before you start a flight mission to obtain an aerial photograph of an area, what all parameters will you fix? What all details will you be considered about? What all details will you be, you will be considering? Yeah, how much overlap should be there, how much side lap should be there, how many photos should be there in a mosaic or in a block, etc. All these parameters should be. You should also fix the focus, right? Film format size you have to decide, the photos scale you have to decide, size of the area to be photographed is to be decided, average elevation of the area is you should consider, overlap and side lap, ground speed of the aircraft. All these parameters are to be considered before you plan a photographic mission. So based on these decisions, your flight crew, you will provide these further infos to be, will be given to the flight crew to decide the flight height above the datum, location, direction, flight lines above an area, time interval between the exposures, number of exposures on each flight line, and the total number of exposures required for the mission. How many photos will you require for making a block, and how many blocks will you need to make a index mosaic? So all these parameters are to be considered during the flight planning of a aerial photography mission. Clear? With that, we wind up photogrammetry as well.